Guys, so for our next stock that we're breaking down this morning is Facebook, or ticker symbol FB. I have my lines and graphs already set. I have my support and resistance lines up. We're starting at the daily time frame. This allows us to find our targets, our entries, and all that good stuff. So yesterday we closed down 1%, and then this morning we're down 0.17%. Pre-market 314.50. So let me go ahead and explain to you, or for our new viewers, what these lines represent and what they do. So this bottom line is our major support line, and you can see back before it was support, it was working as resistance. You can see we came up and got rejected in this area about 6 or 7 times. So generally when you want to test these levels, you want to test them at least 3 times. So already this one is heavily tested. So once it was working as resistance, at that point, when it broke above it, it was no longer resistance, and it will work as a floor. So down here is a resistance, back on the opposite side, it'll work as a floor. You can see that in the future. We can see we bounced in over here, and that's all we have for the major support line, but it's heavily tested. So back up here is our major resistance line. You can see that it's been tested right here and here about 2 or 3 times over here, until we initially broke above it, came under, and to where we're at right now. So we broke under that. We created this breakout. Let me zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit clearly. We were testing it here, ultimately it broke above it, and then gapped all the way up here, you guys, and now are pulling back. We're in this downward trend. Okay, so at the 314, if we look left, we're kind of resting right on top of this minor support. However, let me just put a line here, you guys. However, we still are in this downward trend. If you were to get in on Facebook for an aggressive trade, this would be an aggressive trade, and then I'll give you guys my ideal safer entries. Usually I don't give an aggressive entry, but I can see how some people would want to take this trade. If you were to get in, since we have this little bit of minor support, you could have your stop loss maybe underneath the $310, underneath this candlestick wick. And then have your first target back up here at the 329, where we have this first candlestick up here. Let me go down to the 1 hour chart so I can see this a little bit more clearly. Okay, this is what I was talking about. See how we're in this clear downward trend? However, we are on this minor support, but it's not the heavily tested area that I would suggest. So getting in right now on this specific area would be really, really aggressive, you guys, unless you had a really tight stop loss. So let's say you got in at the 314 or 315, your stop loss better be at the 312 or 311 area. You'd better have a tight stop loss, because this is not a very strong support or resistance area that's been tested. The more safer entry, you guys, would be back down here at the $304 area. That is our tested area, and that would be ultimately your safest bet. So if we do pull back down to this 304, that could be an ideal entry. Have your stop loss on the opposite side. Give yourself some wiggle room just in case there's a candlestick wick that peaks, that breaks below it. So maybe have your stop loss at the $302 level or the $300 level. And then your first target would be back up here at this resistance at the 314. And then once we can break above that, then I'll probably do an updated video on where your first target and ideal entry should be. Excuse me. Let me go back down to the daily. As of right now, that's really the only ideal entry that I can see, because previously this is the highest it's ever been. So it's all void. I mean, can't even move over. There's all void up here. There's nothing else to use prior price action history. So I can't really predict on if we started reversing in this area where your first target should be, other than the previous highest point back up here at, I believe that's the 329. Yeah, the $329 area. So just be very cautious, you guys, because like I said, we are in this downward trend, and it looks like we're pulling back down to our major support line. However, like I said, if you want to be the aggressive trader, which I don't recommend, you could get in right now, have your stop loss underneath maybe the $312 area, since we are resting on this support area and it looks like we're kind of holding. But on the 1 hour chart, like I said, when we break down to a smaller time frame, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't look that great. Even though we created this higher low, it's just a very, very aggressive trade. Okay, so I said if you are going to take this trade, just make sure to be have a very tight stop loss. But for you safer ideal entries or safer traders, you know, the $304 level would be more the safe area. Okay, So I'm just here to break down these charts and kind of just paint a picture of exactly what you're looking at. And if I did that, please hit that like and subscribe button. It allows me to create this content every single morning for you guys, Monday through Friday. And other than that, I hope you guys have a beautiful day and happy trading.